Oh, hey, I gotta tell you something. Today I was at work and my supervisor called me into the office and he's like, "Hey, Donald, come here for a minute." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, he wanted to talk to me about some things that were going on with some other employees. So we had the conversation. We were done with it, and I'm like, "All right, man, cool." So I walk out of the office and the other supervisor from the second shift goes, "Hey, Donald." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Were you in my office?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was talking to the other supervisor. He's like, "Come here for a minute." I'm like, "What?" So what he does, he takes a can of sanitizing spray. He starts spraying it all over the office. He's like, "You got the corona. Don't go in my office no more." I'm like, "Okay." All right, I see. And I'm like, "Hey, Braden." He's like, "What?" I said, "Come here for a minute." So I take the spray and I take it and I go spray it all over my body. I'm like, "You got the corona." I said, "You're nasty." And all of a sudden, another guy was sitting on the chair. He looks over at me. He's like, all disgusted. I'm like, "Well, what's wrong?" He's like, I'm a little concerned why you took the sanitizer and you sprayed your nuts." And I'm like, oh, everybody's cracking up laughing. And I'm like, "You know what?" I said, "I'm a little concerned that you're looking at my nuts." And everybody starts blasting out laughing. They start cracking up at him. They're like, "Oh." And I'm like, "Hey, smell it. It's floral scent." And then he was so embarrassed. He was done. And at the end of the day, we start leaving. And the other supervisor that sprayed the room, he looked at the guy. He's like, "Hey, Irvin." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "How's them flowers smell?"